Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Musa Gaming here, and today I'm back with another episode of account coaching. Today featuring Lochan, who's a new subscriber and a member of Discord who joined just to actually get his account coached in one of those episodes, which I found very amazing. That a lot of people actually are enjoying these kind of series. I think this will be one of my main series that I do every now and then. So please, if you actually enjoyed this video and all the other videos that I actually posted about account coaching, to give my perspective on how they can improve their accounts better, please go ahead and like to the video and subscribe to the channel so that you can follow me on those contents. But yeah, Lochan, 2.3 billion powers, 2.3 billion kill points, 68 million power, account, so about 70 million power, I'm assuming, in usual times. And he's at 67 RD, Ryzen Demon, which is really interesting name. And I spoke to him a little bit about his objective, and he's like thinking about going for Bai Chi to replace Guan, and armaments are not right now so good. And he's thinking about recycling and transmuting once the update comes for the next update. And then he also was wondering if he should build Gorgo and Hera. So in this video, my objective is whether or not building Bai Chi with whatever he has in terms of gold heads and everything, the best option, best move that he can actually make. And basically confirming that, as well as providing the usual suggestions on equipments, commanders, and armors is basically what I'm going to do throughout this video. And also at the same time, hey, like, is building Gorgo and Hera going to be a good idea for him at this moment? And if not, when might be the right time, or like, the right set of commander that he should be work on? Is basically what I'm trying to going to focus on throughout this video. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at his set. Oh, well, actually, let's first take a look at whatever he has. So he has 356 gold heads actually in the reserve, and also he has Expertise Pro, William Wallace, Zhuge Liang, Guan, Nevsky, Arthur, Scipio Prime, Jonabar Prime, Liu Che, and Herman Prime. And he has Gorgo at 5531 and Hera at 5411. Now, with that said, looking at his formation, he has basically a full infantry set with a critted horn, which is very nice. So he has that pre-KVK best set that I think a lot of people uses. He has a set helmet, hope cloak, set gloves, and then set weapon and boost for that 4-piece bonus. And then he has hope cloak, he has eternal light, and he has ring and horn critted, which is nice. Again, as I said, he can work on his formation a little bit, but I think he's gonna wait until the next update rolls out. So I think I'm not gonna pay too much attention to his formation at this very moment. But pretty good. Two inscription, two regular inscription, two rare inscriptions. He focused on the inscriptions more so than the stats, which is good. His Zhuge Liang equipment is awesome. You can see that it's basically the full Dragon Breath set with ring and horn, which is like, I wouldn't touch that even if there is a better alternative, which there are. But then again, if you already have a full Dragon Breath set, I wouldn't recommend that you actually touch this at all. It's basically what I would usually recommend for everyone else. Craze is good. I think if you don't have Hunter, Craze is going to give you extra rage, which is really good. Boiling Blood is also going to be really good. So yeah, overall very strong equipment for Archer. Now Nevsky. This is probably his Cav set number 2, because Cav set number 1 he has, I already know. I already took a look at it. Is really good, but this is his second set. Just keep that in mind. He has basically a full epic set with the chest piece basically as blue, which is fine. This is probably the set that I'm going to recommend that he work on in a bit. But so far, probably the pretty good budget set that he can actually run for a second cavalry set basically is what I would say about this piece, with a lot of normal inscriptions on his armaments. His Guan Yu, the reason why I don't have his armaments on the Guan Yu is because I think he has his armaments moved to Gorgo. So just for your reference, this is basically what he's using. He has Retaliation and Hardy, which is okay. And he has Guan Yu basically being worked on right now. He said he is thinking about replacing Guan Yu by Chu. So, and I don't think he has, I don't think he has Philip. Let me actually go ahead and double check real quick. Yeah, he doesn't have Philip right now. But yeah, pretty strong set, I would say. It is, I think the only thing that I'm kind of worried about is that he already has the set helmet and Shio's shoes made. Because I think if you want to go for technical best set for Garrison, I think technically you should have the KVK weapon, KVK helmet, and then the leadership set for the pants and boots if you want to use this piece right here for the gloves. But other than that, it looks pretty strong. For immediate power, this is probably really good either way. Arch formation that he has for Gorgo, I think this is what he's preparing for Garrison. And kind of spare ones that, since I think the ones the update rolls out, I think he's thinking about going to transmute the best set, infantry set for his pincer set. So that's basically what he's thinking about, I think. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that arch set behind. And very strong cavalry set that you can see right here. He has about 20% stats as well as Rapacios, if I'm saying that correctly ever. But that one's gonna give you all damage. So pretty decent set. It's basically the setup that I'll have except for the weapon, which should be Sacred Dominion. So that way that he can actually move this one to his cavalry second set eventually, which will be nice. So right now, in terms of their placements themselves, I don't have any recommendation on moving them at this very moment. Most likely, I'll probably suggest that you actually move your best set to Liu Che Bai Chu once you have Bai Chu. But then again, no immediate move around is actually needed, in my opinion. And then in terms of equipment priority, I think the biggest problem is that current infantry number 2 set has the 2 infantry sets that he has is going to be difficult for you to actually optimize because of helmet and boost that he already crafted. Again, like I said before, if this was actually epic helmet, I think it will be easier. Same with the boost, because you then have to just craft the KVK weapon and KVK helmet, and then try to aim for that garrison level equipment power level. But then again, he has already crafted set helmet, which he already has one piece already. The reason why I don't recommend that is because of iconics and talenting, because you need so many blueprints nowadays that you can't use. So if you have 2 infantry marches or even 3 marches, for example, the infantry set helmet, most likely you're going to need to use that for the secondary set, iconicing and talenting. Whereas the first set, you have to actually use a KVK helmet and then just focus on talenting and iconicing 5ing that piece, basically. So that you don't have to get like 10 different infantry set helmet blueprints for you to actually max out the first one and then talent the second one. See what I mean? So like, yeah, so usually that is very difficult if you have 2 infantry helmets open and built already. That means that you're gonna have to lose some of the legendary pieces that you actually invested in, unless you're thinking about building the 3rd infantry march, which is all very possible option. But then again, at this point, at the current state, I think you have other priorities to focus on. So yeah. And so I gave him 2 options. Option number 1 is swap 1 infantry to the ideal set for the future garrison. So that means that I'm going to actually suggest that he actually get the KVK weapon, KVK helmet, and get the leadership boost and pants, which is basically the most ideal set for infantry at this very moment, so that he can actually have that ideal garrison power in the future. Or he can actually use non-ideal set but have Iconics push out for his first infantry set, so that way you don't have to waste too much materials for that one, and you can actually get to that garrison level quicker, because iconic 4 and a 5 and talenting and stuff, that's going to be really important when you're actually garrisoning for the server, much more so than having two different sets of equipment sets or whatever for infantry. So there's going to be two options that I'm going to provide for him at this very moment. And the field priority, if you were to actually just focus on the field only, I would say giving Horn to infantry number 2 is going to be the most immediate change that you'll need. Infantry number 2 set is already pretty strong with the exception of Horn and Drum. So that's basically what I'm suggesting here at number 2 and number 3. And number 4, craft the weapon or helmet to the infantry number 2. Depends on how much materials that you have. Whichever one comes first doesn't really matter. But then again, actually crafting KVK related stuff is going to be important. Now, with that said, you can then work on your cavalry number 2 set, which I think the order is going to be building the Sacred Dominion is going to be number 1, because you're already using the Pride of the Column, which is the KVK helmet for the cavalry. Might as well swap it out, because the set weapon does not really provide much more value by just having that as one piece, a standalone piece that doesn't really have KVK 2. So KVK weapon. So Sacred Dominion, so that you can give your cavalry weapon to cavalry number 2. And then in terms of order, I would say just get the chest piece for the cavalry number 2, so that you can, I think, get rid of the blue piece that you're actually currently rocking on that. And then boost helmet, so that you can get 4-piece bonus along with the cavalry set weapon that you inherit from the first set. And then horn drum, so that you can get the maximum rage generation for yourself and others on the field. And then legs and gloves last. And in terms of long term, and the reason why I'm providing suggestions for legs and gloves last is because the epic set for those pieces are actually really good already. And then for the long term, which will be in blue, build infantry garrison set and look at number 1 is basically what I'm going to suggest. Number 1 meaning like this one right here. You will have 2 different options for the infantry garrisons. So the first option that I'm actually going to suggest is, again, building the ideal garrison for your infantry. Now, you're going to actually leave the first set alone, and then you're going to have to give the ring to infantry number 2, and then you're going to have to craft the horn and then give it to number 1. Actually, let me fix that. I think I might have made a mistake here. There you go. I just made the adjustment as I'm filming. So you can see that give your ring to infantry number 2 and then craft the drum and then give it to the infantry is basically what I'm saying here. So that number 2 for option number 1 would actually be right here. There you go. So and then work on this order. So crafting the horn for a main garrison. Actually, you know what? You already had a critted horn, didn't you? So actually moving this right here and then give ring and horn to number 2 is basically what I recommend. There you go. So my apologies. Oh. Let's see. Okay. There you go. So you're going to take the ring and horn from the first set and then give it to infantry number 2. And then you're going to basically use this as a main garrison equipment set, basically. And then you're going to craft the ring and horn for the second one and then give it to your first set, if that makes sense. And then think about crafting the weapon, KVK weapon and KVK helmet. And then make this infantry number 2 set as your main infantry garrison set. Most powerful infantry set that you're going to have, because you're going to have both KVK sets as well as critted horn and a ring, which will basically maximize its damage output at the moment. And then think about building the leadership, health, boost, and pens so that you get the troop health bonus that infantry set is missing desperately. So that this will actually completely turn out to be the best infantry garrison set that you can actually make for your rallying garrison in technical terms. And that's basically what you're going to use for the ideal garrison situation. Now, once all that is done, you can basically take the sacred you can basically craft the sacred dominion and give it to your first cavalry set, completing this cavalry set as a whole as the ideal cavalry set that you can possibly make in Rise of Kingdoms. Give that set weapon to your second cavalry set, and then build in this order for your second cavalry set, and you'll have a full 5 marches with full legendary gears, with one ideal main garrison for infantry. Now, if you want to work on your iconics on the infantry number 2 set, which is your main infantry garrison set now, to make sure that you can actually garrison a lot faster, you can go ahead and do that. But then again, that's basically what I'll recommend for option number 1, building ideal garrison. Option number 2 is a little simpler. All you have to do is actually focus on your main infantry garrison gear with the current version of it. So you already have a full, really good set that you for infantry right now, which uses 4-piece set bonus with the infantry garrison, as well as Hope Cloak and Eternal Night. Now, with that said, all you need is talented and iconic them if you really want to focus on your main garrison. If you don't really care about the maximum trade ratio for those, building up on the infantry number 1 will be more economic way if you want to garrison that. But then again, your priority for this doesn't really change. You should still think about building a horn and drum for your second infantry set, and then think about crafting the KVK sets for your second infantry gears, and then craft Sacred Dominion, and then give your set to the second cavalry, and then work on your second cavalry set is basically what I'll recommend. And for the iconic order, iconic 2 for talent, iconic 5 is what I would usually recommend for most people. For horn, it's most likely going to be iconic 2, talent, iconic 4, iconic 5, but for you it doesn't matter because you already have a talented horn, so you should just go in iconic 2, iconic 4, iconic 5. Very easy. And armaments, I would give the same suggestion that I gave to everyone else. I'll work on a perfect pincer set. Use the current Arch set and then transfer it so that you can actually make your best pincer set so you can get ready for Bai Chi and Liu Che. Now, build Arch Delta set for cavalry, for future, for combo. Arthur and Alpha is basically what I would give as a second project for most people. So if you want to set your travel thing for armaments to Arch and Delta, Arch or Delta, whichever you prefer. If you want to bet on combo being much better with a release of Next Commander, and then you want to work on that slowly, you can use Delta. But Arch is currently the better version of this armament set, so really, really up to you on how you want to put it. I would usually recommend that you actually still do Arch, because you can use that for infantry too. And then Pincer and Wedge is basically what I recommend. So Arch, Pincer, Wedge is what I recommend. But if you want to work on Delta, you can as well. On Dispatch, and slowly build up towards cavalry that does combo damage, basically. And right now, the best set that you actually have is going to be looking like something like this. I'm assuming this is what you're already using, with Ho Arthur as the first cavalry set user, and then infantry number 1 you can use William Wallace and Bai Chu, or William Wallace and Liu Che, and then use Bai Chu whenever you basically have him maxed out, along with Liu Che's, but it's basically what I recommend though. Which I'll go over in a bit on the next slide, where I'll have the best combo recommendation for infantry number 1 and number 2. Infantry number 2 set though, I would say Guan Yu and Skippy Prime is probably what I'll recommend. This is probably what you're using already. If you have Ragnar Prime, which I couldn't find from your screenshots, you can also use that in place of either of them is fine. I would suggest that you actually still use Guan Yu either way because of the fact that it does the AoE silence. And then Herman Prime with Zhuge Liang is fine. Nevsky and Joan of Arc Prime is fine. And once you have Bai Chu, then it will go into something like this. So once you have Bai Chi, I think you'll want to use Bai Chi with William Wallace because of the fact that you already have William Wallace expertise and you don't really have a place for William Wallace beyond anywhere else, whereas Liu Che can be used with almost any other commander. Now, for Liu Che, it's really up to you on what kind of set that you want to use for armaments. I would just say using leftover Arch is probably the best for him. But then again, you can pair him up with Alexander the Great if you have him. Scipio Prime is also awesome pairing for Liu Che. And you don't have Philip, but if you're ever thinking about building a Philip, you can also use Liu Che with Philip. So this is what I would recommend for your second infantry set. Now, you already said that you're thinking about replacing Guan Yu. But if you want to pair... So here's the thing. If you actually replace Bai Chu with Guan Yu, then you have to actually do it in this format. Otherwise, you're going to have one commander that's basically going to use some weird smite damage and skill damage combo unless you move Liu Che down from your best infantry arch or pincer set. Actually, this should be pincer set, by the way. Pincer set. So Liu Che, because of his combo damage mechanism, he can actually go well with Alex, Scipio, or Philip. So I would suggest that you actually go either one of those combos for you to actually maximize your damage output on the field at the moment. And in terms of commander priorities, give your best infantry set to William Wallace and Liu Che, and then replace. Oh, this is my bad. Replace Liu Che with Bai Chu. And then one other recommendation that I have is wait until your equipments are on par with what the server desires as the best garrison. What I mean by that is each server has different desires for the level of equipment that each garrison wants. So even if you build Gorgo and Hera, but like you don't have any of them talented or iconic, and let's say your server is not at the level, let's say your server is like Imperium server. No Imperium server is gonna want you to garrison with zero talent, zero iconics and whatnot. But then again, if you're in a server that is in like B, C, D, you might be able to actually garrison with Gorgo and Hera. So just understand what your server desires are for the garrison and then use Gorgo Hera where appropriate, and then wait until your equipment on the best equipment set is actually made for infantry before you actually work on Gorgo Hera is my suggestion, because Gorgo and Hera are going to be expensive in terms of gold heads. And then little did you know that if you actually invest in them right now and then turns out that, let's say, Tokugawa Ieyasu is a better pairing with Gorgo once you have pincer formation and whatnot, that could be very well possible. Then it's gonna be kind of waste that you actually spend all those gold heads to actually build those commanders. So my recommendation is that you wait until your equipments are on par with what the server desires for your garrison level to be. Is my suggestion. All right, I hope this was helpful for you, Lochan. And in terms of for people who are entering the garrisoning period, I know that garrison is going to be a little bit cheaper than being able to rally for anything, but then again, it will still cost you a lot in terms of crystal every KVK. So just think about how much that you can spend per KVK. Obviously, each kingdom, each seed is gonna have different expectation for your garrisoning capabilities, but then again, just think about those before you actually think about investing in those garrisons and stuff. Just generally speaking, most people per KVK are going to actually require their garrisons to be at least buying 2 Mountain Warfare packages fully. And then for rallies, at least 3 mountain warfare packages fully, and those are now a no cheaper amount for you to actually invest in your garrison on top of your equipment and armaments and whatnot. So anyways, I hope this was helpful for you. If you did find this video helpful, please go ahead and drop a thumbs up and subscribe to the video. And as always, I'll see you guys all in the next video. Thank you.